All right, let me share it real quick. How you been, man? How you been? Since we are live, if you want to just throw out there who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that good jazz.
I'm Leo Pareja. I'm the CEO of the largest real estate company on the planet by agent count and transaction count. And I live in Miami. That's where I'm right now. Just got back from our family summer tour. We were in, I think, 9 locations, saw a bunch of agents all over the world, from Europe to all over the US, and ended it with a 2-week vacation. Got some surfing in, and my 10-year-old is now a certified scuba diver like her daddy. So now I got a new dive buddy.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, did you were able to surf? Because I know you hurt your ankle.
No, that was my son. I was sending you a picture of my little guy's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, not that you have skinny legs or anything, but
No, that was my little guy's toe.
I thought that was you. I thought it was you. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. What was now that you said that, you said you hit 9 different locations. What has been the most impactful for you by doing that and seeing the world and talking to different agents? Are we running into certain or similar challenges? What has been like kind of the eye-opening thing as you went through that tour?
So one of the locations was eXp Content International. We had 550 agents from 16 countries. And it was hilarious to hear their problems be the exact same ones we face, right?
Yeah.
Low inventory environment, high interest rates, volatility in the macro. And by the way, these were the French agents, these were Portuguese agents, these were the Spaniard agents, these were the German agents, right? The COVID put a bunch of cash into the system. It exacerbated rates. People aren't selling their homes. Like, these are global problems. These aren't just US or Canadian problems.
Right.
And it was fascinating because like a lot of the things that we assume are a local problem, like in my market, are a real estate professional in 2025 problem, right? And
Yeah.
it's all about controlling activity, making sure you're in front of all your folks, right? And your folks are defined as whatever you define as, like your sphere of influence. Are you creating enough content? Are you engaging with the people who trust and know you enough through all the channels you have available to you? So the aha, that was super high awareness, because I was in the UK, I was in Spain, I was in Portugal, I was in France, I was DC, Colorado, California. Like, I spoke at Inman, I spoke at Housing Wire, saw a bunch of folks, similar issues at all times, right? It's where do you spend your time? What produces ROI? What is noise? And noise is included of like all the hype that is AI. And as someone who speaks a ton about AI, like, be aware that a lot of it is hype, and also be aware that it's very, very real, right? And the analogy I give folks, it's like, look, we can agree that this is as big or bigger than social, right? But I believe that we're probably playing with Napster and Friendster and MySpace. I don't believe the YouTube and the Instagram have shown up yet, which is really exciting in my opinion, right? Like, if someone could tell me, like, in 2008 to start a YouTube channel, not this 6 months ago, we all have the opportunity to be the next Mr. Beast.
That's right. So some may not know what Napster is, and some people have destroyed their cameras or their computers with Napster. All right, so and I want people to hear that, because as newer agents that are jumping into the business the last few years, and they're like, man, this is tough. Should I even stick it? It's like, dude, it's tough for the world. So it's not just a you issue right now. It is tough for the world. So I do want them to hear that. Did you hear anybody say something that, because we know that the old stuff that we do always works, right? It's communication, it's relationships, it's how often we're touching them, it's adding value. Did you hear anything on this world tour that sparked an interest, like, I've never heard that before, that you think could be valuable for somebody who's listening?
So, not to make it about international, but I was just overseas.
Right.
It's super interesting to hear our agents, right, who like work continental Europe. And like, if you think of the size of the average European country, it's like the size of a state. So like, they're actually a lot closer to each other than we probably think about when we think about international. But there was an agent who said that if he ever hears an accent, part of his script is to say, oh, by the way, do you have any other real estate to sell in another country that we can help you with? And he said that script, he had $5 million in pending referrals for the next 30 days, right? And it was like selling a home in Spain to relocate to Portugal or France or Germany. And so, you know, what the takeaway is, like, is there a simple script that you could be adding to every buyer and seller consultation that could create a referral, right? And it could be as simple as like, hey, if you have any friends or family members moving in the US, we're the single largest brokerage in the country, and we would love to help you out. And I have a great network. Or another one is, in addition to your primary residence, have you considered adding real estate to your investment portfolio? Like, and think about when you live in a Southern California, South Florida, like I live in, or a DC, where rentals, you can barely make them cash flow. But like, have you considered, you know, adding a single family rental to your portfolio in the Sun Belt, right, at 300,000? And because of our network, there's incredible opportunities where you could create one more transaction as a referral, that just by adding a script, just to ask every single time, could you add 2 transactions, 3 transactions, 10 transactions? And you know, they could all be referrals. It could be all outside your market, but you don't know until you ask, right?
Right.
The amount of times in my career where I saw someone do a type of transaction outside of what I served them with, it's like, well, I didn't know you did X, and fill in the blank. It could be commercial, right? We have a national commercial company. Like, what if you asked every small business owner, like, hey, are you an owner occupant, or you're a tenant in your commercial business, right? In your office space? Like, have you considered buying an office condo or a building or a warehouse or anything like that? And they're like, oh yeah, I have. I didn't know you could help me with that, right? And then you can partner with our commercial division and do something like that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. It's funny because you get a lot out of eXpCon. I'll be going this year. I know a lot of people are going this year, but the last year I went to a commercial meetup and they were like, why aren't we asking this question? And it's literally in our system now, right? We do ask the regular, hey, who do you know looking to buy a home or sell their own? But they were like, oh, by the way, who do you know that may be looking for a commercial? And I got that from eXpCon. You're exactly right. And I just wrote down the accent thing just to bring in a little bit more more relationships within our organization that we could possibly get a deal.
Well, we're in 27 countries now. We're in all of
Right.
South America. We're in all of continental Europe. We're going to Asia. So we're opening up South Korea and Japan and Hong Kong, right? So like, those are like the biggest chunks of humans in the planet, right? And so if you don't ask, you don't know. And
Right.
they don't know. It shouldn't be on them to be like, oh, by the way, do you happen to have operations in the south of France? Like, it's on you to ask.
Exactly. And one reason why I do love this is because we get the opportunity to have others ask questions. Jake Dixon, who runs the Locker Room Coaching, solid coaching company, we brought him into our own organization. He asks, how are you developing and encouraging leaders to lead right now? Leaders lead, especially in times of uncertainty for many, like right now. So what does that look like, and where should leaders be focusing on growing their own skill set right now in order to best impact others? Sorry, long question.
That's a great question, Jacob. So my personal belief, and hold me accountable to this, Ruben, I think the best way to do it is by demonstrating action, right? So I just did a podcast with Chef Black. If you want to throw in the link,
I will.
Off my podcast. Like, we had a long, deep conversation about leading by example, right? Like, I don't think there's anything I expect of you guys that you guys don't see me do at a high level, right? Like, the form of communication right now is attention, and it's through consumable content, right? Like, by the way, getting on camera is not like my favorite thing to do. Creating
Doing
content,
a lot of it lately.
because it's what works, right? I'm in the middle of, I'm past the middle. I'm on day 4 of a 5-day fast, right? Like, I got just liquids in front of me.
Wow.
We all know how to do stuff. If you want to lose weight, there's only one option, which is to be in a caloric deficit. There's 2 ways to get there: reduce calorie intake or burn more calories, right? And I think every one of us knows that intuitively. You can figure it out on Google or ChatGPT or YouTube. It's simple as doesn't mean it's easy, right? Like, do I know that creating content works? Yes. The eyeballs live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, depending on your demographic. Like, we know all this stuff. You see what works. Like, Alex Harmozy put on a masterclass over the weekend, right? Like, give. And where that translates to Jacob's question is, I made the decision probably 14 months ago. I was like, okay, I have to do this. I chose to be in this seat. Like, I accepted the opportunity. That means it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. I said yes to the opportunity. And in order for me to be in what I consider a one-to-one digital relationship with tens of thousands of our agents, and by the way, and our agents that are not with us yet, right? Like, what's come of that behavior for 14 months during a very difficult time, Jacob, is that as people join, they're already have an affinity to my concepts, how I talk, how I do this. And by the way, when I say I, translate that into your own world, right? Whether that's your sphere of influence in your local market. Like right now, talking to consumers sucks because like your properties are sitting longer, highest cancellation rate in like a decade, right? So it's I would double down on like property tours and conversations about what's happening, right? Like when you walk into a listing appointment right now, you need to be so well versed on the data. Like there are 23 listings on the market right now. The absorption rate is averaging 2 a month, right? So if we're going to compete with 23 houses, you need to be either a diamond or a deal. And a diamond means you have to show the best possible condition, right? Do all the paint scratches, all the curb appeal. And by the way, be the best priced property of the 23. Yeah. Because if we don't go under contract in this month, we got to wait till next month, right? And then it's the next month, right? Or you can be a deal where it's like, okay, we got to be 10, 20% below the comps. And hopefully you get 46 people to walk through and you get 10 offers and you maximize value. But if you're not willing to do those things, you have to have a serious conversation with the seller of what is your motivation, right? And have the statistics in this neighborhood. Out of those 23 properties, homes are canceling at this percentage, and they're normally selling with a second or third listing agent. So, I'm not willing to take it for that price. And is it okay if I stay in touch with you and call you in 6 months when that other guy says he will sell it and he doesn't? And then I can come in and get the listing again. So, leading through tough times, I think it accentuates demonstration. And like, don't do anything. Don't expect anyone to do something that you're not doing at a high level and modeling for them.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I would say you've been easy to work with in terms of just setting these things up. You've also been extremely transparent, which for some people, it may be a little uncomfortable for some, but it comes with an understanding and a little bit better of a layout of what's to come when you are so transparent. So I appreciate that as well. So say you're working with leaders, which obviously you are, and some aren't necessarily willing to show that they want to get in front of other people. They want to take those actions, but they're a really good leader behind the scenes. Is there a conversation where you have them walk into the unknown, knowing that it's going to show more leadership, or do you kind of leave them in their place because they're really good at a leader behind closed doors?
No, that's a great question. And like, that's the beauty about being human beings. Like we all have different strengths and weaknesses. We don't come in one flavor, and whether it's roles or interests or hobbies, or even like what company you affiliate with, like the best proof in our industry that there is not the perfect model is that no one has 100% market share, right? No one's really beat 10%, right? Like if there was one company that figured it out, they'd get all the agents, right? But they haven't, right? We have different strokes for different folks. And I think that seats on the bus or seats on the boat, whatever analogy you want, has that. And so I think leadership demonstrates in different ways. There are some folks behind the scenes that are incredible leaders, and it's almost more like the orchestra director, right? Where you don't hear them, but their impact is massive. And then you have the other folks who are the front man or woman of the band, and you hear their voice. So I think it's also kind of deciding what role you play and how you most impact. I think of everything from an ROI standpoint. So like even in my decision tree, I spend more than half of my days doing this. And it's either one-on-one where it's just you and me and I'm coaching you, or one-to-many where this format you will show it to hundreds of or thousands of folks, right? And some of it's live, some of it's a rev share group or a team meeting, and others it's evergreen content where it can be replayed. So I would encourage, like the way I look at my day, the highest ROI I can produce for the enterprise is by spending time with our agents. I fundamentally believe that, right? Like 30 to 50% of my job is running the business. So like having one-on-ones with leaders, sitting during finance meetings, sitting with the board, creating, negotiating deals. Like if I were to show you my calendar, I bet you it's 50-50, right? Like, I'm halfway through the day and just looked at the time, and I would say so far it's been almost all one-on-ones with agents or one-on-ones with leaders. And the rest of the day looks like that as well. And so when you it's a finite game, right? There's only X amount of hours in the day. And then there's only X amount of hours that you're willing to work in a day. And so it's always a radical prioritization exercise that you need to do of how you're willing to spend your time for the ROI you're willing to accept.
Right. Yeah, I agree, man. Since you are meeting with a lot of leaders, obviously within the organization and even outside of it, what do you find, like what questions do you find that have the largest impact in terms of the return you're looking for with that one department that they're working in? What do you find is like one of those top 3 questions that you ask that you're able to find an opportunity that you both can work on the solution?
I think that's a good way of thinking through it, and even the way you ask that question, that's part of the discovery process, right? I think a lot of meetings are inefficient as a leader, right? Where I call them book reports. We're all grown ups. I don't need a book report. Like if you want to send me a 1-pager with numbers on it and walk me through it, we can do that in 60 seconds. I don't believe in taking up 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour because it was scheduled. Like, what's the point? And one of the questions I ask is like, what's your most pressing roadblock, right? I believe that the leader relationship is to remove roadblocks, right? Like, what is the heaviest thing on your calendar right now? What is holding you back? What is blocking you executing at the highest level? And I believe that's what leadership is, where it's like, let me help unblock that for you. Whether it's you need to bounce it off of me and I can walk you through my decision process on how I would come to the conclusion, or it's literally like, I need your signature, right? Like I can't spend that level of money or, make that decision. And what I think good leadership looks like is like, look, if someone brings you, hey, we've done the research, we have path A, B, or C. I think we should go with A, is that you then co-own it with them, right? So it's like, okay, if I spent the time going through the thought process, if A was a bad call, that you don't turn around and throw them under the bus either, that like you co-own it with them. So I believe one thing that we do at the leadership level is, the QBRs where we invite top attractors and top producers to. So we meet with the staff, the senior folks, and we work through stuff like just how I asked you, like what's the most pressing thing. So as we're going into our QBR, I have notes of like, hey, how do I operationalize this? Like, I really want a training program around that subject. Above the line versus below the line expenses and income, that opportunities that we're probably not focused on. And I think a lot of it also, you have to unplug from the routine and say, okay, like let's lock ourselves in a room for 8 hours and work through a specific list. And you prioritize a list with the biggest rocks, right? In my role at this level, I've ran out of time officially at all times. Like it's just never enough. My policy with you guys is I have a yes policy. So it's just when, not if, right? So like if you reach out to me and I'm like, and again, like use self-awareness and judgment. And this I find a high ROI for us as an enterprise. So you are my partner in this business. And so I spending time with you and your audience is a good use of time, but it's not if I'm willing to do it. It's just when I'm next available in the allotted amount of time. And Andrea knows that me spending time with agents is how I prioritize my day, right? And so you guys all need to say, okay, there's these 10 things, these 100 things on your to-do list. Like, first of all, in the real estate industry, you got to pick the 4 or 5 that are super crucial to the business, and then be okay with a lot of them just never getting done, just never being done. And I think that's where a lot of people, like psychologically, we love checking boxes, right? So if you have a list of 100, naturally, you will actually pick the easiest ones to do first, because there's this like dopamine release in the brain of completion. Like completion is actually very highly tied to happiness. Like there's a whole bunch of school psychology about this subject. So if you have a list of 100 things and you can knock off 80, you're going to feel like you killed it.
Yeah.
But guess what? Those like 3 big frogs that you didn't want to eat because they were going to be an uncomfortable conversation, or it was going to be boring to your, predisposition, is really what creates the most ROI, right? So I always go back to that, and like how, when, all that kind of stuff.
Dig it, man. For anybody, what's a QBR?
Quarterly business review, which I would encourage you all to do. If you have a team or an organization, right? It's where you say, hey, for one day or one afternoon, we're not going to be in the business. Like, let's pull back and just, get into a room and work through what probably moves the ball forward, and also where, like, hey, what are we going to collectively think about for the next 90 days that we can move the ball forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at QBRs is where, just about every cool thing you like that we've rolled out in the last 3 years has come from, where it's like, hey, I want co-sponsorship, I want CRM of choice, I want fast cap. Like, these were all dreamt on a whiteboard. And then we're like, okay, and that's cross-functional, where we have folks from operations and tech and transactions and brokerage operations. It's like, okay, if we do this, like, what does that look like, right? Like, okay, well, you got to build the tech. You got to make sure we can pay it. It has got like real-time payment, RTP, right? Where we pay your commission same day. Like, that touched every single thing. Think about it. It has to go into SkySlope. It has to go into this. It has to go into enterprise. It has to go in, like, the plumbing is connected across the enterprise. And sometimes when you're working on an idea, you don't have all the key decision makers, right? And so what happens when people work in silos and don't have this cross-functional behavior is they're like, oh, well, it doesn't work because so-and-so doesn't work. Like, and so when you actually get into a room and you're all part of the creation process, there's this group think of co-ownership I said the word earlier, but like it's almost co-creation, right? And at the end of the day, I don't think the team ever feels like, well, Leo wants to do this. It's like, no, in part of the process, everyone owns it. And it's like, yeah, no, we came up with this, right? To even like the slogan on all of our t-shirts, like, where the pros grow to grow. Like, that was created at an event with top attractors and top producers. And like, I know at least 5 agents who vividly remember their table coming up with it. And the reality is, that's how the memory works. That's how creating works. It's like, well, I ultimately don't remember who put on the board, but we all kind of co-authored it and co-signed it and checked the box and said, that really resonates with who we are.
Got it. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was talking to one of our agents yesterday. We were at a place downtown, and we were talking about our largest expenses, and my largest expenses is food, for just one-on-ones with our agents, and honestly other agents as well, and just understanding what the dynamic is with the agent and what their goals are or what their challenges are. And that's what I find as being the most impactful as well, because how would you know if you're not meeting them and talking with them, and understanding what that is? And like you said, when you went on, I'll just keep saying it, the world tour, we're all very similar in some of these opportunities that we can all grow in. And then that's when the maybe the QBR comes in, where you're meeting with everyone, because everyone's essentially having the same challenges, but with more minds on that issue, you can come up with some pretty cool solutions.
Yeah. And again, a QBR is a very corporate term of a quarterly business review, but like I used to do it when I ran a small business, right? Where I got the methodology from a book, and I think it was called Painted Picture, where every 90 days we went and kind of said, okay, 5 years out, 1 year out, 90 days out. And you painted a picture of what you wanted the future to look like. And again, one of my favorite quotes in the world is, we grossly overestimate what we can do in 12 months, and we grossly underestimate what we can do in a decade, right? So if you can zoom all the way out, and then, by the way, the review is no different than if, like, you had a personal trainer and they were like, okay, you're doing great. Well, have I gained muscle mass? Have I dropped fat? Have I, lost inches, right? Because a lot of times when you're going through the transformation of any type, it might not feel like you have, right? Context is everything, right? If you don't know the starting point, because change is gradual, right? But like, you could have hit some metrics on any goal, but it doesn't feel like you are one day to the next. So if you don't have the, hey, this is where we started, and then 90 days is a check-in, it's like, oh, well, I'm 10% to my goal, 20% to my goal, 50% to my goal, 60% to my goal. And those reminders will also be super important when you hit that brick wall and you hit the next plateau and you're stuck and you're like, nothing's working. And you can go back and go, oh wait, we've come 40% to goal. It feels really good.
Right. Yeah. Being near a military town, they got something called an AAR, after action report, or after action report, where we discuss some of the things that what's happened, a goal and actual, essentially. What is some of the so kind of flipping the question on you, what are some of the largest roadblocks that you see that are in either all of eXp's way, all of the industry's way, or essentially what's in your way that maybe some of the people that are here and we can help collectively move that block together?
It's the last one. I do have a hard stop in 2 minutes. We jumped on right on time, but look, it's the market. The market is down, right? If you look year over year, transaction counts, inventory is low, with now property sitting, which is really confusing. So the sentence I have that resonates with everybody is sellers think it's 2021, buyers think it's 2008. And it's neither. So we're starting to have really high cancellation rates on listings. So instead of doing the price reductions, people just take it off the market, try with the next agent, take it off the market, try with the next agent. So there is a level of frustration, right? Buyers are flipped in the sense of like, they want a deal and they're like, no, let's wait to see what happens next month. So I always go back to real estate is human condition. People need to store families in it. So it's a necessary thing. And it's just having a ton of patience and empathy, right? It's a lot more, doubling down on scripting and actually understanding the data, right? Like what is happening in this subdivision, not this zip code, not this county, like this subdivision. So you can actually you need to actually be the one making the decision if you want to take that listing, right? Like, is it realistic? Is it worth the time and effort and the dollars invested in it if the seller's expectations are not real, right? So, when asked the same question, I'm saying, hey, if I'm taking listings, I'm working with people who have to sell, right? Like, hey, if we don't sell at this price, can we reduce to this price? Is there a number at which you're going to do something different? And what is that something different? Are you going to sell it, or are you going to pull it and stay in it? Or are you going to pull it and rent it out? Okay, if you're going to rent it out, let's pull it off the market. Let's also advertise it for rent as well as for sale, right? So I can proactively do what's best for you in the long run.
Got it. Thanks, man. It's 12 o'clock. Get out of here. I really appreciate your time, and I'll keep you posted with everything that's going on over here.
Awesome. Take care, bud.
Thanks, dude. See you. All right, everybody. If you don't mind, drop your notes, at least something that you've heard. I intentionally, I came with a ton of questions, but I didn't ask any of them. I didn't ask any of them because it kind of naturally flowed, one, but number two, he was given a lot of great information, and I didn't necessarily want to stop him. I just wanted him to keep going and keep talking. And I'm glad I did, because there were some good pointers, and I wrote a ton of notes on that. What are some of the things you guys took away from that? And it could just be one. It could just be one thing you took away from that. I want to know, because I want to add it to my notes, and I want to spread it around. And again, no matter the firm, of course, I wore this shirt because I'm meeting with the CEO of eXp, but I care less what firm you're with. I wanted you to get value out of that, right? And I wanted you to take something out of it that you could bring back to your team, your firm, other agents, the market. So what did you guys get out of that? Let me jump on what Justin said. Justin said, 100% on point. I have difficult sellers. I'm dealing with this exact situation right now. Something I was going to say earlier was that when he was talking about, yes, some of these sellers are thinking that it is 2020, 2021, 2022. And, people are going to multiple offers, asking way over. No, we're not going to repair anything. Even when we get the home inspection report, like those days are gone, especially in our market. One thing we do though, and for anybody who's listening, we will put within the listing agreement, if that seller is like, hey, I think my house is worth 400,000. Let's say, for example, you've looked at the comps and it's at 250,000. Then you can always say, hey, listen, okay, cool. Let's do it then. Let's try 400. However, if we don't get any showings or if we don't get any offers in the first week, You can say 2 weeks, whatever you guys decide on. In the first week, then we drop it to 300,000. And if we don't get anything in the next week or the next, whatever you guys are, we drop it to 250,000. And what that does is it allows the seller to, kind of pat themselves on the back that they were able to get that price point out there and test the market. And you already have it in the listing agreement that per these different time frames, these timelines, it's going to drop at per amount, X amount, whatever that is that you guys talked about. So that is something that we're doing. And so it scratches both backs because we have seen that, rightly so, some of these agents are like 400, it's 250 max. And it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, no, whatever it is. Then you can just say, or these agents are like, you know what? No, thank you. I wish you the best. I truly hope you can sell it for 400. By the way, we get paid on commission. I'd love for it to sell at 400. I just don't think it will. And they're just not taking the listing. At least this is a way, because they go with the other agent and then guess what? They start to lower the price, right? With the other agent. And maybe they had that conversation of like, hey, this is probably what we're going to have to do. So I did want to say that for anybody who is listening to that is a strategy that you could do. And again, because it makes everyone happy. It's not like I got you, we tested the market at that price point. And now I think that the market, at least what we have seen it to be, is going to accept it at this price point. So there that is. What else are you guys seeing out there, or what else do you think, get some calls coming in that you feel you got out of that, right? What else? I want to hear more because, again, I want to take some of this. We have been doing something similar to a QBR. If you are in the Fayetteville, North Carolina surrounding areas, you may have noticed we have been pushing out a lot of content for new constructions. We had this conversation a while back. We saw a lot of buyers moving to new construction because of the incentives in terms of interest rates, closing cost, free this, brand new this. We saw a lot of buyers move into that, which is honestly, this is why you're seeing resale sit for a little bit longer too, because they're evenly priced, but they just can't match those incentives, right? So people are moving to new construction. We followed that. We had the report. Minds came together, and that's what we're pushing. What do you guys think about the AI hype that he said? There is going to be a hype, meaning there's going to be a lot of people doing this AI thing, but there's going to be a few larger people who come out of this. Like, I wish I would have started YouTube when it first came out, right? That would have been some great market share on YouTube. So I thought that was interesting, and I think he's right. I think he's right about that. The accent, adding that accent, I'm just going over my notes now. Yeah, I got to put that, especially being here at around Fort Bragg. Like, of course, we have people here with accents, and I'm not having that conversation. So it's all these little tweaks that you take away. And by the way, even at real estate conferences, you pay to go to a real estate conference, and you might pull 1 or 2 solid nuggets. That's kind of what this was. That's a great. Let's see what happens. Ever since I've been implementing that commercial conversation, at the end of asking, "Hey, who do you know?" We've been getting now. They've been leases. But so what? We're building up momentum for the actual sale of a commercial property that I could just give a referral to for one of our agents. Leaders take action. Love that. For all my t-shirt people out there, you see he's a CEO of a $1 billion company rocking a t-shirt. Guys, I know I get some crap just from other agents within my market about how I dress, shorts and a t-shirt. Does it matter? As long as your action is showing others what they might need to do or inspiring others to get up and do something. Like, it's really what you're bringing to the market and what you're giving back. Does it really matter what you're wearing? I thought so. I had to point that out. But leaders take action. Diamond or deal? I'm taking that. What did you guys think about diamond or deal? So he said when he's talking to a seller, and we've been saying this, but not like that. Sometimes there's a way that you say something that just sticks with people, right? So we tell our buyers to lie as soon as they go under contract. That sticks with them, right? Because it's LII. Talk to your loan person, inspection, insurance. So it's lie. But I like the diamond deal, diamond or deal. So you either make this thing a diamond at that price point, right? Right. So, and we're talking to a seller right now. And by the way, she's crushing it. She's awesome. She's painting, she's fixing, she's repairing, and we're making this thing a diamond before it hits the market. Love it. Or if you're not willing to do all that, fine, but we got to make it a deal, meaning this price has to come down. And I talked to another seller about this. We'll see where it goes. I told him what we would do, which I talked about earlier, but that thing's got to be a deal if they're not willing to do anything, you know, in that market. It's been sitting for a year with another agent. A year. So, diamond or deal. I love that. We're definitely taking that. And asking your people within your organization, which I love because it's just straight up solution based. And I love that he said it doesn't have to take an hour if it's been time blocked for an hour. Pull out the numbers, goal and actual. What did you say you were going to accomplish for the whole organization? That thing happens, benefits the whole organization and even the industry. Goal and actual. The goal was to do it where we actually at. What are your biggest roadblocks? What are the gaps that we can fill together? Who do I need to bring in to help fill that gap? Like these are great, because all it is moving that ball forward for, yes, the firm, but more importantly, the industry, because the people within the firm are going to share the ideas, what they learned in the firm with the industry. So these are things that I learned with the CEO of $1 billion company. Did you guys take anything? I don't want to be talking the whole time. And by the way, we don't have to take up the whole hour. We don't have to take up another 20 minutes. If you think this is done, just let me know this is done and we can keep going. But if you really truly heard anything or have any questions, let me know. Let me know. I do this. It's called Be More Training, first and third Wednesday every single month, usually at 11. He said Eastern Standard. He said 11:30. I was like, yes, sir. Whatever, dude. So we made it happen at 11:30. All right. I'm getting texts. I am getting calls. And maybe there's other conversations that people want to have, maybe not on live stream. So I'm going to jump to those. But if you do have anything, just please reach out. We got your back. Again, we care less about brand affiliation. We literally share everything we do with whoever wants it. So have an amazing day, guys. As always, if there's anything I could do for you,